South Africa is in the grip of election fever. Parties have been running campaigns for several months now. But here's a question. Who will win the race? A warm welcome from me, Vuyo Mvogo. And tonight, the President and the party will look at new research exploring support for Cyril Ramaphosa. We'll also pose this question. Is it time to scrap the current electoral system entirely? But first, let's meet the team. Political analyst and author R.W. Johnson. And joining him is Ibrahim Fakir from the ASRI. Good evening to both of you, gentlemen. Thanks very much for coming through. Take us through, Bill Johnson, if you will, just very briefly, how the research was conducted and what the aim really was.
Well, we did a national survey, fully representative across the country, 3,500 voters in late February, early March. And we complemented that with focus groups in all the main cities. Now, we were simply trying to find out not only the distribution of party strengths, but of attitudes on a wide range of issues.
Okay, let's get to some of those issues you sought to explore. Now, take us through what the idea was behind this particular question. Is Ramaphosa strong or weak? Where did that come from?
Well, where it comes from is that Ramaphosa is by far the most popular personality in the election, far more than Maimane or Malema. And he is clearly holding up the ANC. It is very reliant upon his popularity. But we wondered quite what that popularity was about and how robust it is. Because you see, as we pointed out earlier, there was a period when Mmusi Maimane was the most popular politician in the country. That was when Zuma was at his height. Now, once they changed to Ramaphosa, Maimane's popularity collapsed, rather. In other words, it was over-reliant, not on things from himself, but on being the opposite of Zuma.
Of others.
Now, I think that we find something of the same is true about Ramaphosa. Because when we asked this question, as you can see, less than half thought he was strong, and although only 18% said weak, the other 38 they said that he was neither weak nor strong, he was just trying to stay afloat. Now that's not a very impressive way of looking at it either. So if you add those people to the weak ones, then you've got 56% saying not strong, you know. So that's not terribly positive impression.
But there are realities, of course, Ibrahim Fakir. There are realities behind this picture that we are seeing here.
Oh, absolutely, and plenty of them. Because, you know, Ramaphosa as a figure might in fact be well liked and be highly popular. The trouble is, I think there's an increasing realization, even those caught amidst the euphoria of Ramaphosa, that if you vote for Ramaphosa, you're actually getting the rest of the ANC with him. Where we agree, Prof. Johnson and I, is that yes, Ramaphosa is propping up the ANC. There's a realization that along with Ramaphosa propping up the ANC, there might be a bunch of equally capable, good and ethical leaders. But they are not in the majority, firstly. And secondly, along with them, come a whole bunch of rotten apples. Now, it's interesting, in terms of this data, that those who say he's neither weak nor strong, and those who are decisive about the fact that he's weak, are actually in the majority. And why would that be the case? Well, despite the fact that Ramaphosa has been able to do some amazing things, like have an investment summit, or a job summit, or reach out to the private sector, or all of these outreach adventures he's had with different constituencies. The reality is that he is constrained by procedures and processes, not just inside the party, but importantly, as much as the Zondo Commission, the PIC Commission, the reversal of issues at SARS, the reversal of some of the issues at the NPA, they are constrained by the fact that they still got elaborate procedures and processes that they have to go through. So the Ramaphosa, I think, is being dampened a little bit. despite the fact that he's so popular.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's look at how he fares against other ANC leaders, of course. There's Cyril Ramaphosa. I mean, this is the total number of people and of voters across the country, and this is ANC supporters specifically. So he's there. Up there when it comes to ANC supporters at 81.9%, and the closest to him, which I suppose reflects what happened at Nasrec in one sense or the other. But he seems unrivaled within his own party.
That's not without a problem, because we asked also whether people approved or disapproved of people. Now, Ramaphosa had a very strong, I think, something like plus 48% approval. The only other two ANC leaders with positive approval ratings are Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma and Pravin Gordhan. All the others are in negative territory, and that isn't a great position for him to be in, because he's a lonely figure. He may be popular, but there's no bevy of supporting, a cohort of strong leaders around him in his support.
This has always been the problem of the ANC.
Well, in part, yes, but I think that you can actually turn that argument on its head. So if you take some of that data, you'd find that actually the support for Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma and Pravin Gordhan, even amongst ANC members, though half of what, or close to half of what it is for Ramaphosa, is not insignificant. And that is because I think there is a widespread perception that there is at least some depth of leadership in the ANC. I think you'll find a very different picture emerging if you're looking at other political parties. Now, what that might be attributable to is that in spite of the overall negativity that surrounds the ANC, there are some positive perceptions around the ANC's ability to have crafted a welfare state, the largest in sub-Saharan Africa. So some of those interventions are actually fairly positively viewed by citizens. That props up not just Ramaphosa, but some of the other leaders, because, and if you think about the two which are singled out, they're relatively clean. I mean, despite Nkosazana Dlamini's woes in the African Union, perhaps when she was a minister, and then in her contest with Ramaphosa at Nasrec.
Yeah, but she was never corrupt.
No, sure, but there were woeful sort of negative perceptions about her, right? But that happens to every politician. That's not an issue. What is at issue is that, I mean, this perception that Ramaphosa can simply be isolated from the ANC. So the argument people like to make is that let's isolate him from the ANC because he's really a good guy, and let's lump him with the ANC when we want to say negative things about the ANC. Well, I think we can't have it both ways. I think the positive perceptions that Ramaphosa has does spill over to the ANC as an organization. The question, though, is to the extent to which it does so. And there I think we are at Idem. We agree that it is not going to be so dramatic that it can push the ANC support up dramatically beyond 60%.
Okay, you're watching the race. When we return, why are young South Africans choosing not to vote? And what does that mean for Cyril Ramaphosa? Details in a moment.